Question 1. In an environment where different components must interact under international legal frameworks, a museum in the United States acquires an ancient artifact from a foreign dealer. Later, the source country demands its return, claiming it was illegally exported under their domestic laws. Which of the following legal instruments is most applicable in determining whether the museum must return the artifact? A. The National Stolen Property Act, NSBI. B. The 1970 UNESCO Convention on the Means of Prohibiting and Preventing the Illicit Import, Export, and Transfer of Ownership of Cultural Property. C. The 1995 UNIDROIT Convention on Stolen or Illegally Exported Cultural Objects. D. The 1954 Hague Convention for the Protection of Cultural Property in Armed Conflict. Answer A. The National Stolen Property Act, NSPA. Explanation: the National Stolen Property Act, NSPA, applies because it criminalizes the transport of stolen property across state or international borders. In this case, if the artifact was illegally exported from the source country and is considered stolen under their national law, the NSPA allows U.S. courts to recognize foreign cultural property laws and order its return. B. The 1970 UNESCO Convention establishes international guidelines but does not automatically create enforceable obligations in U.S. courts without implementation through domestic law. C. The 1995 UNIDROIT Convention offers stronger protections, but the U.S. has not ratified it, limiting its applicability in this scenario. D. The 1954 Hague Convention deals specifically with cultural property protection during armed conflicts, which is not relevant here. Thus, under U.S. legal precedent e.g. United States v. McLean, United States v. Schultz, the NSPI is the primary tool for enforcing claims based on foreign export laws in the U.S. Question 2. During a major transformation where existing methods of protecting cultural heritage are under scrutiny, a European country enacts a law prohibiting the sale of certain sacred indigenous artifacts. A foreign art dealer challenges the law, arguing that it violates international trade agreements. Which legal principle or agreement is most relevant in balancing heritage protection with trade freedoms? A. The World Trade Organization Agreement on Trade-Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Rights, TRIPS. B. The 2003 UNESCO Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage. C. The European Union Directive on the Return of Cultural Objects unlawfully removed from the territory of a member state. D. The International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, ISCA. Answer A. The World Trade Organization Agreement on Trade-Related Aspects of Intellectual Property Rights, TRIPS. Explanation: the TRIPS agreement under the World Trade Organization is crucial when cultural heritage laws affect international trade. While a country may impose restrictions on cultural artifacts for heritage protection, such laws must align with international trade principles, ensuring they are not discriminatory or unnecessarily restrictive. B. The 2003 UNESCO Convention deals with intangible heritage, e.g. rituals, oral traditions, rather than tangible artifacts, making it less applicable here. C. EU directive applies to the repatriation of unlawfully removed cultural objects within the European Union, rather than affecting international trade disputes. D. The ISCA recognizes cultural rights, but does not specifically trade regulations. Thus, the TRIPS agreement helps balance cultural heritage protection with international trade obligations, ensuring restrictions are proportionate and justifiable at WO. Question 3. While investigating a complicated issue between different legal jurisdictions, a private collector in the United States unknowingly purchases a painting that was stolen during World War I. The heirs of the original owner demand its return, but the collector claims they are a good faith purchaser. Under U.S. law, which principle is most likely to determine the rightful ownership? A. The doctrine of adverse possession. B. The Nemo-Dat rule, i.e. one cannot transfer what one does not own. C. The Uniform Commercial Code, protection for good faith purchasers. D. The principle of sovereign immunity. Answer B. The Nemo-Dat rule, one cannot transfer what one does not own. Explanation: under U.S. property law, the Nemo-Dat principle states that a seller cannot transfer valid ownership of stolen property regardless of the buyer's good faith. This means that even if the private collector had no knowledge that the painting was stolen, they do not acquire legal ownership and the rightful heirs can reclaim it. A. The doctrine of adverse possession applies to land ownership but generally does not apply to stolen art, especially when the original owner continuously asserts their rights. C. The UT provides protections for good faith purchases in commercial transactions, but stolen property remains stolen property under U.S. LawConquer v. Snyder and Solomon R. Guggenheim Foundation v. Lubell. D. Sovereign immunity applies to government entities, not private collectors, making it irrelevant here. The Nemo-DAC principle ensures that stolen art remains reclaimable by its rightful owners, making it key legal doctrine in Nazi-looted art cases and restitution claims. Question 4. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges intersect in the protection of cultural heritage, a prominent museum in the United States acquires an ancient artifact from an international dealer. Shortly after the acquisition, it is discovered that the artifact was looted from a conflict zone and exported in violation of international law. The museum claims it purchased the artifact in good faith, citing provenance document from the dealer. However, the source country demands immediate repatriation, arguing that the transaction violates the 1970 UNESCO Convention and other legal principles under international and U.S. law. Which of the following best describes the legal position of the museum? A. The museum can retain the artifact because it purchased it in good faith and holds valid provenance documents. B. The museum must return the artifact if there is sufficient evidence that it was unlawfully exported, even if the acquisition was in good faith. C. The museum can negotiate a settlement to retain the artifact while compensating the source country. D. The museum can claim ownership under the National Stolen Property Act. NSPA applies only to stolen items and not illegally exported artifacts. Answer. B. The museum must return the artifact if there is sufficient evidence that it was unlawfully exported, even if the acquisition was in good faith. Explanation. Under international law, particularly the 1970 UNESCO Convention on the Means of Prohibiting and Preventing the Illicit Import, Export, and Transfer of Ownership of Cultural Property, states are obligated to take measures to prevent the illicit trafficking of cultural property. The United States, while not fully implementing the convention domestically, has incorporated aspects into its legal system through laws like the Convention on Cultural Property Implementation Act (CEA). Additionally, the National Stolen Property Act (NSPA) criminalizes the knowing possession of stolen goods valued over $5,000 that have crossed state or international borders. While the museum may argue good faith acquisition, U.S. courts, such as in United States v. Schultz, 2003, have upheld that illegally exported artifacts from countries with patrimony laws can be considered stolen under the NSPI. This means the museum must return the artifact if there is clear evidence of unlawful exportation. Option A is incorrect because good faith purchase does not provide legal ownership if the artifact was unlawfully exported. Option C is misleading because settlements are not legally binding resolutions for repatriation claims. Option D is incorrect as the NSPA has been interpreted to apply to illegally exported artifacts, especially from countries with strong patrimony laws. Question 5. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a major international auction house is found to have facilitated the sale of a stolen painting that was looted by the Nazis during World War I to the rightful heirs of the original owner file a legal claim arguing that the painting should be returned to them under restitution laws. The auction house argues that the current owner purchased the painting decades ago. Statute of limitations for recovery claims expired. Considering relevant legal precedents, which of the following is the most accurate legal analysis? A. The heirs cannot reclaim the painting because the statute of limitations has expired. B. The heirs can reclaim the painting if they can demonstrate due diligence in attempting to locate it. C. The auction house can refuse restitution since it acted as an intermediary and did not steal the painting itself. D. The current owner has full legal title because the painting was purchased in good faith. Answer. B. The heirs can reclaim the painting if they can demonstrate due diligence in attempting to locate it. Explanation. Holocaust-era looted art cases are governed by a combination of international agreements, national restitution laws, and judicial precedents. The Washington Principles on Nazi-Confiscated Art, 1998, emphasized that museums, dealers, and collectors should take proactive steps to resolve restitution claims fairly. U.S. law cases such as Republic of Austria v. Altman, 2004, and Cascio v. Thyssen-Bornemisser Collection Foundation, 2022, highlight the importance of rightful ownership claims in Holocaust restitution cases. Courts have ruled that statutes of limitations may be extended if the rightful heirs could not have reasonably discovered the location of the looted artwork. Option A is incorrect because many legal systems allow exceptions for cases where claimants were unable to discover their property earlier. Option C is incorrect because intermediaries like auction houses can still be liable if they fail to conduct proper provenance research. Option D is incorrect because good faith purchase does not override rightful ownership in cases of stolen property. Question 6. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional conflicts between intellectual property rights and cultural heritage protection, a contemporary artist creates a digital replica of a centuries-old indigenous artwork. The artist claims copyright over the digital version, while the indigenous community argues that the artwork is a sacred expression that should not be commercially exploited. Under applicable laws, which legal principle is most relevant in resolving this dispute? A. The artist holds full copyright since the digital replica constitutes an original work. B. The indigenous community may have a legal claim under traditional knowledge protection laws. C. The artwork enters the public domain, meaning no one holds exclusive rights. D. The artist and the indigenous community must jointly share intellectual property rights. Answer B. The indigenous community may have a legal claim under traditional knowledge protection laws. Explanation: the protection of indigenous cultural expressions falls under laws related to traditional knowledge and folklore. Internationally, the WIPO Intergovernmental Committee on Intellectual Property and Genetic Resources, Traditional Knowledge and Folklore has advocated for stronger legal mechanisms to safeguard indigenous heritage from misappropriation. In the United States, the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, NAGPRA, and tribal sovereignty principles provide some protection for indigenous cultural property, though intellectual property remain complex in this context. Some cases have been resolved using moral rights principles under copyright law, such as Visual Artists' Rights Act, 1990. Option A is incorrect because copyright law does not automatically grant rights if the work is derived from pre-existing cultural heritage. Option C is misleading since cultural expressions may still be protected under customary laws. Option D is legally unestablished unless explicitly agreed upon by both parties. Question 7. Given a situation where ethical considerations and legal frameworks intersect and environmental organization challenges, a real estate developer's plan to construct luxury homes on wetland, the organization argues that the development violates the Clean Water Act and threatens an endangered species habitat. The developer, however, claims that the land is private property and that the U.S. Supreme Court's recent decisions have narrowed federal regulatory oversight. Based on current environmental laws, what is the most likely legal outcome? A. The developer can proceed with construction without restriction because private property rights override environmental regulations. B. The Clean Water Act applies only to large-scale industrial projects and not private residential developments. C. The environmental organization may succeed if the wetland qualifies as water of the United States under federal law. D. The developer can avoid restrictions by obtaining general under the Clean Water Act. Answer C. The environmental organization may succeed if the wetland qualifies as a water of the United States under federal law. Explanation: the Clean Water Act grants the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers the authority to regulate discharges into waters of the United States. WOTUS. Recent Supreme Court cases, such as Sackett v. EPA 2023, have narrowed the definition of WOTUS, limiting federal jurisdiction over certain wetlands. However, if the wetland in question maintains a significant connection to navigable waters, federal regulations may still apply. Option A is incorrect because environmental laws can impose restrictions on private property when public resources are at stake. Option B is incorrect because AUA applies to both large and small developments that impact regulated waters. Option D is misleading because obtaining a general permit does not automatically exempt a developer from environmental protection laws. Question 8. When assessing a controversial policy's impact on public health, state government passes law requiring social media companies to remove misleading medical information within 24 hours of detection. Free speech advocates argue that the law violates the First Amendment, while public health officials insist it is necessary to combat misinformation during pandemic. What constitutional principle is most relevant to resolving this conflict? A. The government can restrict speech if it poses clear and present danger to public health. B. Social media platforms have no First Amendment rights and must comply with all regulations. C. The First Amendment prohibits any government restriction on online speech even in emergencies. D. The law is valid because it applies equally to all social media platforms. Answer A. The government can restrict speech if it poses a clear and present danger to public health. Explanation. The Supreme Court has long recognized that the government may impose reasonable restrictions on speech in cases where it presents a clear and present danger. Schenck v. United States 1919. However, modern jurisprudence, including cases like Brandenburg v. Ohio 1969, requires that speech be directed toward inciting imminent lawless action and likely to produce such action. In public health emergencies, courts have upheld certain speech regulations when false information poses a tangible risk, such as during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, any restrictions must be narrowly tailored and not overly broad. Option B is incorrect because private social media companies have some rights in how they manage content. Option C is incorrect because the First Amendment does not provide absolute protection against all regulations. Option D is misleading because equal application does not automatically make a law constitutional. Question 9. In an increasingly interconnected global economy, a multinational corporation headquartered in the US is accused of violating human rights by using forced labor in its overseas supply chain. A lawsuit is filed under the Alien Tort Statute that's arguing that the company is complicit in human rights abuses. The corporation argues that US courts have no jurisdiction over activities conducted entirely in a foreign country. Based on legal precedents, what is the most likely outcome? A. The lawsuit will be dismissed because it applies only to individuals, not corporations. B. The lawsuit may proceed if plaintiffs can prove a substantial connection between the company's US operations and the alleged abuses. C. The US government, not private plaintiffs, must bring legal action under the ITS. D. ITS has been repealed, so no claim can be made under it. Answer B. The lawsuit may proceed if plaintiffs can prove a substantial connection between the company's US operations and the alleged abuses. Explanation. The Alien Tort Statute allows non-US citizens to bring claims in US courts for violations of international law. However, the Supreme Court has narrowed its applicability, notably in Kiobel v. Royal Dutch Petroleum Company 2013, which held that claims must touch and concern the US with sufficient force. In Gessner v. Our Bank 2018, the court further limited corporate liability under the ITS, but it did not completely eliminate the possibility of claims against US companies with strong domestic nexus to the alleged violations. Option A is incorrect because corporations have been sued under the ITS, though with limitations. Option C is incorrect because private plaintiffs can bring its claims. Option D is incorrect because the ITS remains in effect, albeit with restricted application. Question 10. In a debate over balancing national security and privacy rights, a whistleblower leaks classified documents revealing that a government surveillance program collects data on millions of citizens without individual warrants. The government argues that the program is essential for counterterrorism efforts, while civil rights groups claim it violates the Fourth Amendment. Which legal precedent is most relevant in determining constitutionality of the program? A. Katz v. United States 1967, which established that individuals have a reasonable expectation of privacy. B. New York Times Company v. United States 1971, which ruled on the publication of classified information. C. United States v. Nixon 1974, which addressed executive privilege. D. Miranda v. Arizona 1966, which established rights for detained individuals. Answer A. Katz v. United States 1967, which established that individuals have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Explanation. Katz v. United States established that the Fourth Amendment protects people, not just places, meaning that government surveillance without a warrant can be unconstitutional if it violates an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy. This precedent is crucial in modern debates over surveillance, as seen in cases like Carpenter v. United States 2018, which restricted warrantless collection of cell phone location data. Option B is incorrect because New York Times Company v. United States concerned prior restraint on publishing classified materials, not surveillance. Option C is incorrect because United States v. Nixon addressed executive privilege, not privacy rights. Option D is incorrect because Miranda v. Arizona concerns the rights of arrested individuals, not mass surveillance. Question 11. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges require careful prioritization, a global supply chain company faces disruptions due to geopolitical instability and resource shortages. Leadership must decide whether to prioritize short-term operational stability or long-term resilience. Which strategy best aligns with modern risk management principles? A. Focus entirely on short-term cost reductions to maintain immediate profitability. B. Shift all operations to a single low-cost supplier to improve efficiency. C. Diversify supply sources and invest in predictive analytics for risk mitigation. D. Delay strategic decisions until stability returns to the global market. Answer: C. Diversify supply sources and invest in predictive analytics for risk mitigation. Explanation: modern risk management emphasizes proactive strategies to minimize vulnerabilities. Diversifying supply sources ensures that disruptions in one region do not cripple operations, while predictive analytics help identify emerging risks before they become crises. Option A is short-sighted and may lead to greater vulnerabilities in the future. Option B increases risk by creating dependence on a single supplier. Option D is a passive approach that fails to mitigate existing risks. Question 12. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional failures under high demand, and an infrastructure team is troubleshooting a cloud-based service that intermittently crashes during peak traffic hours, what is the most effective approach to diagnosing and resolving the issue? A. Increase server capacity without investigating the underlying issue. B. Implement real-time monitoring and analyze historical performance data. C. Migrate all services to an on-premises solution for better control. D. Rely on user complaints to identify critical failure points. Answer: B. Implement real-time monitoring and analyze historical performance data. Explanation: understanding patterns in system failures requires continuous monitoring and data analysis. Real-time diagnostics combined with historical trends help pinpoint bottlenecks, allowing teams to implement targeted fixes rather than blindly increasing capacity. Option A may temporarily mask the issue but does not address root causes. Option C introduces significant costs and may not resolve cloud-based scalability issues. Option D is reactive rather than proactive. Question 13. During a critical transition period where existing processes are being automated, a financial institution is replacing manual transaction reviews with AI-driven fraud detection. What is the best approach to ensuring accuracy and fairness in the new system? A. Rely solely on AI decision-making to maximize efficiency. B. Implement human oversight and continuous algorithm adjustments. C. Disable fraud detection in borderline cases to reduce false positives. D. Prioritize speed over accuracy to minimize transaction delays. Answer: B. Implement human oversight and continuous algorithm adjustments. Explanation: AI-based fraud detection should be continuously refined to reduce bias and false positives. Human oversight ensures that the system remains fair and adaptable to new fraud patterns. Option A ignores the potential for AI errors. Option C compromises security. Option D prioritizes speed at the expense of fraud prevention. Question 14. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a manufacturing line, engineers discover that defective products increase when machine calibration is slightly off. What is the best corrective action? A. Increase production speed to offset potential defects. B. Implement automated calibration checks and preventive maintenance. C. Rely on post-production quality control to catch defects. D. Reduce workforce training requirements to save costs. Option A ignores the potential for AI errors. Option C compromises security. Option D prioritizes speed at the expense of fraud prevention. Answer: B. Implement automated calibration checks and preventive maintenance. Explanation: automated calibration reduces human error and ensures machines operate within optimal parameters, preventing defects before they occur. Option A exacerbates the problem. Option C is reactive rather than proactive. Option D weakens the workforce's ability to detect and respond to issues. Question 15. In an environment where different components must interact efficiently, a hospital is upgrading its electronic health record (EHR) system to integrate patient data across multiple departments. What is the most critical factor for successful implementation? A. Ensuring the new system prioritizes security and interoperability. B. Requiring all departments to fully transition without a testing phase. C. Limiting staff training to speed up deployment. D. Using a one-size-fits-all system without customization. Answer: A. Ensuring the new system prioritizes security and interoperability. Explanation: a well-integrated AI system must be secure and compatible with different medical departments to avoid data silos and breaches. Option B increases risk. Option C leads to user errors. Option D ignores unique departmental needs. Question 16. While managing a hybrid approach where timing issues impact performance, a project team must balance in-office and remote collaboration. Which strategy best improves productivity? A. Set clear asynchronous communication protocols and accountability measures. B. Require all employees to work in the office full-time. C. Allow each team member to work entirely independently. D. Remove project deadlines to accommodate different work styles. Answer A. Set clear asynchronous communication protocols and accountability measures. Explanation. Hybrid teams perform best with structured communication and accountability, ensuring tasks progress smoothly despite time zone differences. Option B eliminates remote flexibility. Option C weakens collaboration. Option D reduces efficiency. Question 17. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a utility company must restore power after a natural disaster. What is the most effective prioritization strategy? A. Restore service based on customer complaints. B. Focus first on critical infrastructure like hospitals and emergency services. C. Work randomly across different areas to show progress. D. Wait until the full extent of damage is assessed before taking action. Answer B. Focus first on critical infrastructure like hospitals and emergency services. Explanation. Prioritizing essential services ensures public safety and supports overall recovery efforts. Option A is unstructured. Option C lacks strategic planning. Option D causes unnecessary delays. Question 18. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical constraints, a construction company must comply with strict environmental regulations while meeting project deadlines. What is the best approach? A. Find legal loopholes to bypass regulations. B. Develop a sustainable construction plan that aligns with regulations. C. Ignore regulations to accelerate project completion. D. Delay the project indefinitely to avoid compliance challenges. Answer B. Develop a sustainable construction plan that aligns with regulations. Explanation. Balancing compliance and efficiency ensures legal adherence while maintaining project viability. Options A and C risk legal penalties. Option D is impractical. Question 19. When scaling up operations that experience significant growth, a tech startup faces challenges in maintaining its company culture. What is the best strategy to ensure cultural continuity? A. Formalize core values and integrate them into hiring and training. B. Allow culture to evolve naturally without intervention. C. Focus only on operational efficiency, ignoring cultural aspects. D. Reduce employee feedback mechanisms to maintain control. Answer A. Formalize core values and integrate them into hiring and training. Explanation. Clearly defined values help preserve company culture as it grows. Option B leads to inconsistency. Option C ignores employee engagement. Option D reduces morale. Question 20. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements must be upheld, an international museum consortium is working to standardize policies on repatriation of cultural artifacts. However, some member institutions operate under national laws that conflict with international conventions like the 1970 UNESCO Convention. What is the most legally sound approach for the consortium to ensure compliance while BAM? Institutional autonomy. A. Require all member museums to strictly follow the most restrictive national law to ensure compliance. B. Develop a framework that aligns with both national laws and international conventions, allowing flexibility and enforcement. C. Apply a uniform international policy across all institutions, disregarding national legal variations. D. Permit each museum to set its own repatriation policy based on its home country's laws. It contradicts international conventions. Answer B. Develop a framework that aligns with both national laws and international conventions, allowing flexibility in enforcement. Detailed explanation. This question tests the candidate's understanding of the complex relationship between national and international legal frameworks governing cultural heritage law, particularly regarding the repatriation of cultural artifacts. Option incorrect. While strict compliance with the most restrictive national law may seem like cautious approach, it may be impractical for museums operating in more lenient jurisdictions. Additionally, it could create legal inconsistencies within the consortium. Option B correct. Balanced approach is ideal. Aligning policies with both national and international legal frameworks allows museums to operate within their jurisdictions while respecting international legal standards. This is consistent with best practices recommended by UNESCO and ICOM. Option C, incorrect. Enforcing single international policy across all institutions disregards national sovereignty. Many countries have specific cultural property laws, and ignoring them could lead to legal disputes or governmental backlash. Option D, incorrect. Allowing complete autonomy would lead to inconsistent policies and weaken collective efforts for ethical repatriation. This could result in disputes over stolen or looted cultural artifacts and undermine the credibility of the consortium. The 1970 UNESCO Convention and 1995 UNIDROIT Convention encourage international cooperation while acknowledging national legal variations. Museums must engage provenance research, diplomatic negotiation, and ethical due diligence to ensure responsible repatriation. Question 21. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a logistics company must reroute its supply chain after a major natural disaster disrupts primary transportation routes. What is the most effective strategy to restore operations quickly? A. Continue using the primary routes while waiting for the situation to improve. B. Shift entirely to air transport to bypass the affected areas, regardless of cost. C. Use real-time tracking and alternative routes, prioritizing high-urgency deliveries. D. Delay all shipments until a full assessment of damages is completed. Answer. C. Use real-time tracking and alternative routes, prioritizing high-urgency deliveries. Detailed explanation. This question assesses disaster response, supply chain resilience, and strategic decision-making. Option will incorrect. Sticking to disrupted routes is inefficient and delays response efforts. A flexible approach is needed. Option B, incorrect. Air transport is an effective alternative, but is costly and may not be feasible for all goods, particularly bulky or perishable items. Option C, correct. A real-time logistics management system helps reroute shipments dynamically, ensuring critical supplies, e.g., medical goods, food, reach their destinations first. Many global logistics firms use AI-driven tracking to optimize routes in crises. Option D, incorrect. Delaying all shipments would create bottlenecks and worsen shortages in affected areas. Emergency logistics require agile supply chain management, predictive analytics, and multimodal transportation strategies to minimize disruptions. Question 22. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, a multinational financial institution is integrating new compliance software across all regional branches. Some branches use older legacy systems that are incompatible with the new software. What is the best approach to ensure a smooth transition? A. Force all branches to upgrade their systems immediately, regardless of cost. B. Develop middleware solutions that allow old and new systems to communicate. C. Implement the new system only in regions where compatibility is not an issue. D. Maintain separate compliance processes for old and new systems indefinitely. Answer. B. Develop middleware solutions that allow old and new systems to communicate. Detailed explanation. This question evaluates integration challenges, digital transformation strategies, and regulatory compliance. Option incorrect. Forcing immediate upgrades could be financially and operationally disruptive. Large organizations must plan phased rollouts. Option B, correct. Middleware acts as a bridge between legacy and modern systems, ensuring smooth data flow and compliance. Many companies use BIS and integration platforms to facilitate this transition. Option C, incorrect. Partial implementation creates inconsistencies, potentially leading to compliance violations. Option D, incorrect. Maintaining separate systems long-term is costly and could lead to errors in compliance reporting. Successful digital transformation requires compatibility solutions, phased rollouts, and continuous training for staff adapting to new systems. Question 23. When improving a process that shows unexpected results, a research team discovers inconsistencies in their clinical trial data for a new pharmaceutical drug. What is the most appropriate next step? A. Adjust the data to align with expected results before publishing. B. Halt the trial immediately and start from the beginning. C. Conduct a thorough investigation to determine the source of inconsistencies. D. Continue the trial without addressing the inconsistencies, as they may be minor. Answer. C. Conduct a thorough investigation to determine the source of inconsistencies. Detailed explanation. This question examines scientific integrity, research ethics, and data validation. Option incorrect. Altering data compromises research credibility and violates ethical standards. Option B, incorrect. Restarting the entire trial may not be necessary if the issue is minor or correctable. Option C, correct. Investigating inconsistencies ensures scientific accuracy and regulatory compliance with bodies like the FDA or AMAT. Option D, incorrect. Ignoring inconsistencies can lead to unreliable conclusions and potential safety risks for future drug users. Reliable clinical trials follow good clinical practice (GCP) standards, emphasizing data integrity and transparency. Question 24. During a major transformation where existing methods are being replaced, a manufacturing company is transitioning from manual quality control to an AI-driven inspection system. Workers are resistant to the change due to concerns about job security and reliability. What is the best strategy to facilitate adoption? A. Mandate immediate adoption without worker input to enforce efficiency. B. Provide extensive training and involve workers in refining the AI system. C. Maintain both manual and AI inspection indefinitely to allow choice. D. Phase out manual inspections without communication to prevent resistance. Answer. B. Provide extensive training and involve workers in refining the AI system. Detailed explanation. This question examines change management, technology adoption, and workforce engagement. Option was incorrect. Forcing adoption without worker involvement creates resistance and dissatisfaction, increasing turnover risk. Option B, correct. Training and involving workers mitigates resistance by helping them see AI as a tool to enhance productivity rather than a job replacement. Many successful digital transitions involve collaborative training programs. Option C, incorrect. Maintaining dual systems indefinitely is costly and reduces efficiency. Option D, incorrect. A lack of transparency fosters distrust and could lead to operational issues. Smooth transitions require employee engagement, skill building programs, and clear communication. Question 25. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple departments, a retail chain notices growing delays in inventory restocking due to miscommunication between warehouses and stores. What is the most effective solution? A. Implement an automated inventory tracking system with real-time updates. B. Increase warehouse staff to manually track stock levels. C. Conduct weekly in-person meetings between store managers and warehouse teams. D. Rely on store managers to manually report inventory shortages. Answer A. Implement an automated inventory tracking system with real-time updates. Detailed explanation. This question tests supply chain optimization, process automation, and efficiency improvement. Option was all correct. Real-time inventory tracking eliminates miscommunication, reduces restocking delays, and ensures optimal stock levels. Many companies use enterprise resource planning software for this. Option B, incorrect. Increasing manual labor is inefficient compared to technology-driven solutions. Option C, incorrect. Weekly meetings help but don't provide immediate solutions for daily stock fluctuations. Option D, incorrect. Manual tracking is prone to errors and delays. Modern AI-based inventory management enhances forecasting accuracy and replenishment speed. Question 26. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a tech company, engineers find that a newly deployed software update is causing system crashes at irregular intervals. What is the most effective troubleshooting approach? A. Roll back to the previous version without investigating the issue. B. Perform a root cause analysis and deploy targeted fixes incrementally. C. Reinstall the software on all devices without further testing. D. Ignore minor crashes and only address major system failures. Answer B. Perform a root cause analysis and deploy targeted fixes incrementally. Detailed explanation. This question evaluates problem-solving, debugging techniques, and its system stability. Option incorrect. Rolling back software avoids the problem rather than fixing it. Option B, correct. Root cause analysis ensures a systematic approach to debugging, identifying key failure points, and improving software reliability. Option C, incorrect. Reinstalling without testing may reintroduce the same problem. Option D, incorrect. Ignoring minor crashes can lead to larger system failures over time. Best practices involve log analysis, regression testing, and controlled patch deployment. Question 27. When implementing backup procedures across various departments, a financial institution wants to ensure data security while maintaining system accessibility. What is the most secure and efficient backup strategy? They store all backup data on a single local server for easy retrieval. B. Use a hybrid approach with both on-site and cloud-based backups. C. Perform backups only during major system upgrades to save storage. D. Rely on employees to manually save critical files. Answer B. Use a hybrid approach with both on-site and cloud-based backups. Detailed explanation. This question examines data security, disaster recovery, and its best practices. Option 1 incorrect. A single local server is vulnerable to physical failures, cyber attacks, or disasters. Option B correct. Hybrid backup strategies combine on-site speed and cloud resilience, offering protection against cyber threats and hardware failures. Option C incorrect. Infrequent backups increase the risk of data loss in unexpected failures. Option D incorrect. Manual backups are prone to human error and inconsistencies. A multi-layered backup system ensures data integrity and business continuity. Question 28. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a hospital's network experiences cyber attack, limiting access to patient records. What is the best course of action? A. Shut down the entire network immediately to contain the attack. B. Switch to offline backup records while it isolates the affected systems. C. Ignore the attack and continue normal operations to avoid disruptions. D. Request external consultants without taking immediate action. Answer B. Switch to offline backup records while it isolates the affected systems. Detailed explanation. This question addresses cybersecurity response, crisis management, and its system resilience. Option incorrect. Shutting down everything disrupts critical patient care. Option B correct. Using offline backups ensures continued medical services while it contains the breach. Hospitals often use air-gapped systems for backup access. Option C incorrect. Ignoring an attack worsens the damage and security risks. Option D incorrect. External consultants can assist but shouldn't delay immediate containment actions. Rapid containment strategy and cyber incident protocols are essential in healthcare security. Question 29. In a situation where resource allocation becomes a challenge, a company with limited personnel must support multiple global offices. How can the company optimize its resources? A. Assign personnel to each office regardless of budget constraints. B. Implement a centralized help desk with remote troubleshooting capabilities. C. Reduce its services to cut costs and focus on local solutions. D. Hire temporary contractors for each office location. Answer B. Implement a centralized help desk with remote troubleshooting capabilities. Detailed explanation. This question examines resource allocation, its support efficiency, and operational cost management. Option was incorrect. Deploying personnel to all locations increases costs and may not be feasible. Option B correct. A centralized help desk model with remote access allows faster issue resolution with fewer personnel. Option C incorrect. Reducing its services increases downtime and operational risks. Option D incorrect. Temporary contractors lack continuity in managing its systems. Centralized its support enhances cost efficiency, response times, and system reliability. Question 30. While investigating a complicated issue between different business units, a logistics company discovers that delayed shipments result from inconsistent data across regional warehouses. Each unit uses different tracking systems, making it difficult to synchronize deliveries. What is the best solution to improve efficiency? A. Standardize all warehouses onto a unified tracking system with real-time data sharing. B. Allow each warehouse to continue using its current system but require weekly status reports. C. Hire additional personnel to manually reconcile data discrepancies between warehouses. D. Shift responsibility to individual warehouse managers to handle delays independently. Answer A. Standardize all warehouses onto a unified tracking system with real-time data sharing. Detailed explanation. This question assesses supply chain coordination, data standardization, and operational efficiency. Option was all correct. Implementing a unified tracking system eliminates data inconsistencies, improves shipment visibility, and streamlines operations. Modern logistics rely on centralized digital platforms, e.g., or cloud-based inventory systems. Option B incorrect. Weekly reports do not solve real-time data gaps or prevent shipment delays. Option C incorrect. Manual reconciliation is inefficient, error-prone, and adds unnecessary labor costs. Option D incorrect. Decentralized management worsens coordination issues instead of resolving them. Standardized data integration ensures seamless logistics operations and improved supply chain performance.